Hi people and hello my Chili con Carnage crew, it's Chili here from Live Listen Race bringing you a special episode. This one's actually a bit of a breakdown in regards to the Coachella festival that happened in 2025, and I think it's fitting because, there was the recent news with the Fire Festival 2 being cancelled, whoa, shock horror, and there are going to be lawsuits flying with that one, but I was sent this link and it was in regards to Benson Boone performing Bohemian Rhapsody with Brian May. I had heard of this clip, but I did not watch it up until a couple of minutes ago. And I think it was pretty interesting as well, because it coincides with the short that I made in regards to Fire 2 and the festival being cancelled, because someone said, oh, it's still better than the Coachella concert that's going on. I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it, it's a joke, yeah, whatever. But it was the lineup really that bad? I haven't looked at the lineup. Maybe it's filled with young talent that I'm just not aware of, or maybe that's what he's alluding to. And in particular, this one is Benson Boone, who is an artist that I have no idea who he is. I'm just doing a quick search on him. The guy's only 22 years old. He was on, American Idol back in 2021. And apparently he did a couple of TikTok videos that gained, a whole bunch of popularity, which, made him sign on to contracts with Night Street Records. So the guy is this up-and-coming talent. And he is pretty much headlining Coachella at the age of 22, which I think is just insane when you're thinking about all of it. And on top of that, he also has the balls to get Brian May up on stage to perform Bohemian Rhapsody, one of the hardest songs to cover by Queen. I mean, Freddie Mercury was an insane vocalist. He is often regarded as the best vocalist out there. So to do any song and tackle, a Queen song and do a cover of it, you better bring your A game to this. And I gotta say, Benson, you brought it, didn't you? Now, when we're looking at this video clip, I'm thinking, first off the bat, he's walking on stage here, and I'm looking over this way because that's where the clip is, and I'm looking at it just as I'm making these notes, if you will, or breaking it down. He's walked on the stage, and he's got the long gown, which was a massive item when it comes to Freddie. And while I should also mention, while I'm not a Benson Boone fan, I'm a big Queen fan, so I do know a thing or two about Queen in regards to this, and I want to make this video as well because there's probably a lot of people from the the Coachella concerts who may not know about Brian May, and maybe this video can help with the bridging connection here. I'm hoping that a lot of people now know about Brian May, but if you don't, anyway. So yeah, he's got the long flowing gown here and the piano setup, which is exactly what, of course, Freddie Mercury used to do in his songs, in particular for, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody when he performed it live. And Bohemian Rhapsody, if you aren't aware of that song somehow and you're living under a rock, has a long piano intro before it jumps into the song itself, which has a long guitar solo, and of course the operatic voices in between. It requires pretty much a choir to perform. So it is one epic little piece there. And I've just got to say, you're watching over this, and I'm just going to move this here so that when I make my talking points here, you can still hear me. So he does well. He does very well opening these lines here and plays the part well. I heard some comment here just saying, oh, his piano's not plugged in, or he's not actually playing this section here. Who cares? Freddie was Freddie was the same. He did play piano, but Freddie not always had to play the piano, especially when it came to Bohemian Rhapsody as well. So I don't mind this minor flaw if it is. If anyone out there has seen the video and can comment on it, if you're an actual pianist and you're watching over this going, alright, he is or he isn't, please comment below. But it doesn't really matter. It's a minor gripe. Who cares? And of course he stands up on the piano here, and I think it's just fantastic way to, I guess, address the crowd. Now, he flashes off the bloody gown at this point, and I just want to say, there is a crazy section here when he's like, okay, gown's off, walks up towards the piano, and does a front flip off it. What? I was not expecting that in the least bit. I'm just absolutely dumbstruck by this, and it all makes sense because I'm looking over his Wikipedia here, and he was in the diving team. Of course, he nails it, with his perfect dive. 10 out of 10, Benson. You've done very well there. So, yeah, when he lands that dive, he jumps. He almost looks like he was going to go into a split, and I'm like, God damn it, what? The athleticism on this bloke. Damn. But, again, he starts performing his bit. He does it very well. He's very decent. A very solid singer here. And it's not an easy song to crush. You know, Bohemian Rhapsody requires high registry and sections, and he does it. He just nails these high registered sections. If anything, he actually goes a little bit higher than the original, which is just mind-blowing. You know, I think there is certainly something here that, you know, people like Beth Rawls or the Charismatic Voice, they're going to be doing breakdowns on this video, 100% guarantee. That's safe money, dollar for dollar, and they're going to give their thoughts, of course, being the vocal people that they are, the experts in that field, as to his little skills here. So at this point here we see Brian May also coming in, and it's age is catching up to him, I guess, but you know, at this point he's just up there in the background, and you know, Benson Boone, here he is, Brian May, and he performs his first little guitar lick, and it is one hell of a way to introduce yourself. It's just insane to see and absolutely lovely. But the thing is, and I know a lot of people were saying this about the video, this is the news I had heard, a lot of people were saying the Coachella people, the fans I should say, at Coachella, did not know or would not know who Brian May was. And there was a comment I just wanted to hear, you know, just to announce here, and that was, you know, bro is bringing a book to those who are illiterate. I don't know how much of this is true, and I hope this wasn't the case, but at the end of the day, it does kind of look like some old guys on stage with a guitar. So, if you didn't know, and I couldn't blame you, I guess, you know, that is the original guitarist for Queen, the guy who wrote the freaking riff when it comes to Bohemian Rhapsody, performing on stage there. That is the guy who performed with Freddie Mercury. We're talking about the guy who, of course, was on stage every night with him, Live Aid, all the big concerts, all the big albums. So that is the man, the legend himself. He's an insanely talented guitarist. So to have him come on and perform, you know, this one song with him is just icing on the cake. It's insane to see. And, you know, it's great because when he goes into the second solo, he comes on stage, center stage, performs it, and Benson Boone's just, you know, doing his vocals, and it's powerful, it's insane, it's great to watch, the lights are flashing, it's really good. And then just to prove it all over again, he jumps over Brian May in the end. I forgot to mention that, but geez, you are athletic, aren't you? It's a spectacle. I think this is going to be one of the best live clips you're going to see for a long time. One that's going to be pointed to for years to come, and for good reason. This is when I'm kind of reminded, actually, when you go to like American Idol and all those things, and they often perform their pieces, and it always cuts to like crowds going wild. I always think to myself, that's like pre-recorded shit. But it was a bit quiet in the crowd. I don't know if that's because of editing or whatever. It just doesn't feel right in the crowd though. Like, you can't really hear them too well. I don't know if that's, again, the audio levels of certain parts of the song. I'm just thinking, why didn't people lose it? I mean, especially when Brian May is just up there on stage. Like, oh my god, if I was at that front row, I would have just lost it when he said, Brian May, everyone, you know? And I'm like, oh my god, he's here. But anyway, regardless of whether or not you knew him, this is one of the best performances you would have heard from one of the biggest anthems ever written. So I think Coachella easily beats Fire even before it was cancelled, just on this merits alone. But of course there's going to be haters when it comes to this thing, so I just want to read off a few comments, you know, in regards to this, ones that I can just say here. So straight off the bat, I'm just reading here that I can see people already commenting saying, Brian May, you are one legendary musician, glad that I was at Coachella. So that's good news to hear that people actually do know who Brian May is, and they acknowledge, of course, the musician himself, the legend and everything. Brian May is 77, damn it, 77, I can't, I don't want to think about that. I can't believe he's 77 though. I'm so disappointed in the crowd. Benson literally bringing back a legend on stage. The guitarist himself from Queen, and no one screamed. Again, that's what I was talking about. They really have a lack of culture. And, they really have a lack of culture, I think. It's not so much they have a lack of culture, it's the fact that Queen's kind of been off the airwaves. Well, not off the airwaves, that's not the right word. Out of the public zeitgeist for so long. It's not like they're releasing new music. Well, they haven't for a couple of years. And I think once, even as big as a musician or band can be, you're going to one day fade out of existence, especially in younger crowds. I mean, Benson here might represent the average age group, maybe not average. He might represent the age group roughly of the casual, person at the concerts here, being 22, and 22 years old. You might not know too many musicians from the 70s, 80s, or even 90s. So I'm not entirely. Look, it happens. It just happens. Hell, when I was, born and being raised up, I didn't know musicians from the 60s that should have been famous, but, that's how it is. Let's see here. Not imitating or mimicking Freddie Mercury, but capturing his spirit and passion. That's exactly it. I was a bit, like I said at the beginning, I was cautious because he came on with the gown, and I was thankful he didn't come on with the whole crown and everything else like that, like no shirt and the black leather band, just jeans and a white t-shirt, tank top, because that would have been just on the nose too much. I think he paid respect to him, and just right, because there's only one Freddie at the end of the day. He's given a nod. He's giving you an ode, like, hey, this is Freddie, and we all know, of course, this is Freddie with the way he walks on and does it all with a gown. But you don't need to completely emulate him. You're never going, because if you do that, you're opening those doors. Benson Boone would always be remembered as the guy who couldn't sing Freddie Mercury's parts. He did well, but he didn't do Freddie Mercury. No one's going to do Freddie Mercury. Come on now. But at the end of the day, I think it was perfect the way he nailed it. Just a little bit of a hint, a subtle hint as to the musician and, of course, the band, but it's just perfect here. What else here? I am 72 years old. There we go. I am 72 years old, and I've been to London, Wembley for 1985 and Queen. That means you were at the Live Aid concert. Shit. That is epic. What an unforgettable show. Watching Benson and Brian, my soul is full of joy and admiration. What a performance. Freddie Mercury is surely happy watching this magical moment. Absolutely. The show must go on. I see what you did there. Yeah. So this is the comment I was talking about. Bro gifted a book to people who can't read, But look, I think most of the comments here are absolutely positive. I was a little bit surprised. Benson's stage presence at 22 years old is stunning, and Brian was just the icing on the cake. Exactly what I was thinking there. The fact that he's only 22, this guy is going places. He's gone real far. I can tell straight away. I don't know what type of music he plays again. He might be more pop orientated, but hell, if you're paying homage to Queen, clearly he has very good influences in his life. So, here's another one. I am an old rusty Queen fan. I have seen Freddie perform more than 20 times. I think Benson owns this song and stays in his own personal style while giving it so many of Freddie's vibes. Big words there. He is actually singing both Freddie's and Roger's vocals. Brian, just amazing. Standing ovation to both of you and your backing choir of musicians. That's pretty big words to be saying, in regards to it. For a person who is a massive fan of Queen and saying, yep, you done well, clearly you done well. You have done something that's exemplary, I should say. Let's see here. Too painful to see that only a few were able to appreciate this timeless masterpiece. Benson did great, and so did Sir Brian May. I think people will come to appreciate the moment that they have just witnessed. They may not recognise it at first, but in due time, I think they're going to come to realise what they just witnessed. And, that's the thing. Even if I was attending a concert tomorrow, and let's say one of the guitarists or someone from, I don't know, the Kinks came on stage, performed Lola with the band that I was seeing, I probably wouldn't know who the hell that guitarist was on stage. I know who the Kinks are, but I don't recognise the people. So I think, to find out after the fact, it's one of those kind of, oh, wow moments. But it also might lead a lot of people down the rabbit hole of, discovering Queen. And I think that's the biggest aspect in regards to this performance as well. For me, it's the opposite way. I'm going to be discovering Benson Boone. But for Benson Boone fans who went to Coachella to watch him and got the chance to see Brian May perform Bohemian Rhapsody and maybe never heard this song before, I think that's going to open new doors in regards to a new wave of fans. And Queen really is timeless. I think, it's going to be one of those things where they will live on forever. And hopefully, this is going to reintroduce, or kickstart I should say, a new wave of fans, and that's going to be probably the best news that you could probably have. Maybe it'll grind the wrong gears for old Queen fans, but what are you going to do, man? This is music. People will discover it one way or another. But from what I can see here on the comments, looks like most fans, even the old school fans, seem to love this performance here. Let's see. If Coachella should be remembered or celebrated historically for only one thing, this is it. Powerful statement there. Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about Coachella, but just the fact that this is done during Coachella, I thought it was more an electronic festival, but clearly I'm wrong here. Let's see, 22 years and 77 years old together, epic, great Freddie Mercury will always be in our hearts. Damn, Coachella did not deserve this. Probably not, but it happened. What can I say? The crowd doesn't know what superior performance they have just witnessed. Brian May and Benson Boone singing the greatest song, Bohemian Rhapsody. Freddie would be so proud. So again, I think this is just a fantastic performance by both musicians. Brian always kills it. Benson, fantastic job. You done well. Hats off to you. Standing ovation, everything that comes to you. You're a young musician, young and clearly talented, and I think you just knocked it out of the ballpark when it comes to this song, which again is an extremely difficult song to sing by the musician, the original one that is. So yeah, look, congratulations to people who were at Coachella. Comment below, tell me what your thoughts were when you saw this live. Did you know did you know that Brian May was on stage? Or did you know who Brian May was? Or did you know this song or Queen at all? If not, I should say, did you want to go and check out Queen? Because hell, maybe I'll do a Queen ranked video and talk about all their albums at the end of the day, and maybe we can go down that path on the channel. Anyway, that's my discussion in regards to this lovely video clip. Thanks for that, by the way, person who sent it me. It was certainly something to witness. I think that's definitely going to go down in my books as one of the best moments of 2025. Maybe even the decade. Anyway, stay spicy, people. If you've enjoyed this content, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to us, and stay notified for future music related content, because it keeps our manager happy at the end of the day. We are also on Discord, Instagram, Facebook, and all those other social platforms if you want to check us out. As always, people, you have a great day and stay spicy.